Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Café Royal in central London. A happy new year to you all, and what a great way this is to start off 2019. A sporting event that has all the makings of being one of the great British boxing occasions of 2019. We'll have the official press conference, and then you can do your interviews after that, after we have the head-to-head. So please welcome to the stage two of the best British super middleweights at the moment. The former world champion at IBO level, first of all, Chris Eubank Jr. And his opponent, the former IBF two-time world champion and Olympic gold medalist, James DeGale. And we'll let the gentlemen of the press do their head-to-head.
Turn back to the front, please, guys. With your arms still folded, please. Chris, can you turn your shoulder inwards as well, please? That's it. And fold your arms, that's it. That's it. Step closer, please. Yes, that's it. That's perfect. Straight to the front there, guys. And back down there, James, please. Chris. James, please. Straight back at me, guys. Straight down here. And straight down in, guys. And then back close to each other, please, guys. Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. If you could take your seats, please, and we'll begin the press conference. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We are live on ITV Box Office, Facebook and YouTube channels to announce an intriguing fight between two of the most talented British super middleweights out there right now. It's a grudge match, and it's definitely been made now. On Saturday, February the 23rd at the O2 Arena in London, James DeGale, Olympic gold medalist and two-time IBF world champion, will meet the former IBO world champion, Chris Eubank Jr. The fight will be live on ITV Box Office in the United Kingdom. This is the first major UK show leading off the new collaboration between ITV Sport and Premier Boxing Champions, promoted by Heyman Sports in the United States and Poxton Sports in the UK. So on the top table we have James DeGale, his trainer Jim McDonnell, Chris Eubank Jr., his trainer Ronnie Davis, and a few words first of all from our promoter in the UK, Richard Poxton.
Morning, everybody. I'd like to thank everyone for their attendance today and wish everybody a Happy New Year. Firstly, I'd like to say how personally proud I am that this new relationship between Premier Boxing Champions, probably the biggest, or without doubt, the biggest promotional company in the world with the best fighters in the world, and ITV, who we consider the biggest broadcaster in Britain, will take us back to the glory days on ITV of the big fight live. And I think that managing this relationship and bringing it together is is going to be great for British boxing. There'll be boxing across all the platforms on ITV, both in Britain and from America. I think the announcement of the first 2 shows shows the quality of events we'll be getting from America. There's the Uskategui Plant super middleweight fight, and then the week after that, 6 days after that, we go straight to Brona Pacquiao, another massive fight. And those are the type of events we'll be looking to put on this year. But for the first British event, it's probably one of the most anticipated fights of the last 2 or 3 years, I believe, with James DeGale, whose credibility is without question. They don't give Olympic gold medals away to anybody. James has got one of those. I was just going to add that. Just give me a second. I'm just warming up to that.
Yes.
2-time world champion. Lost it, went straight back and won it back, which is always a sign of a great champion. People lose fights, and then they try and skirt around rematches or float off and do something different. James didn't do that. He went straight after the guy who beat him and got it back. On my left is Chris, who obviously needs no introduction. Again, I've worked with Chris over 2 or 3 fights now. Him and his dad, pleasure to work with. Very, very professional in his preparation and everything he does. Shown he belongs at the level. Probably feels he's got something to prove after the disappointment of the George Groves fight in the past. And I think it's just got every ingredient to be a great event at the O2. Really, really looking forward to it. Looking forward to the build-up, and especially looking forward to the fight. So again, I'd just like to thank everybody for coming and say, really looking forward to this year and the events that we'll be bringing to you. I'll pass you over to James to tell you how he's going to prepare for this fight and what his thoughts on it are.
Yeah, where do I start? So, thank you for coming. It's a great turnout. Listen, this fight's been a long time coming. A lot of people have been calling for this fight. Chris has been calling for this fight for a long time. When he first turned professional, the guy was calling me out. He's very deluded. On the 23rd of February, I get my chance to deal with this guy good and proper and finish him, because after he's lost to me, I'm not too sure where he's going to go. Thankfully, we've only got 7 more weeks to wait. I look forward to it. I hope he's ready. Make sure you tune in. It's going to be a good night of boxing.
Yeah, Chris, you and your father have been calling for this fight for some time. Now that it's a reality, what's the overriding feeling?
I'm happy. I'm comfortable. At this stage in my career, big fights, fan favorite fights are the only thing I'm looking for. And this fight has been, 4 or 5 years in the making. James says I'm deluded. I guess you guys are going to find out which one of us is.
You still think you beat George Groves and Billy Joe Saunders? You tell me that ain't deluded?
We're not talking about Billy Joe
crazy.
Saunders or
madness.
George Groves. We're talking about me and you.
Yes.
And
And you're going to get schooled.
in February,
promise you.
it's going to be a painful lesson for you.
That's what you
But
think. You're hoping. This is what you're hoping, Chris. You're hoping I die. I don't live the life. I die and you're going to catch up with me. You know you're going to be down after 6 rounds. You know that. But you're hoping that I die and I'm not fit. I'm going to get better as the fight goes on. It's going to get easier as the fight goes on.
I wish you the best of luck.
I wish you the best luck as well. 'Cause you're gonna need it.
Unfortunately for you, like I said, this fight is. I've been calling for this fight for years. I've been training to beat you 4 years. I know everything about you. I know how you fight. I know your weaknesses.
Vice versa,
And
Chris.
I know how
Vice
to
versa.
exploit them. So
You're
it's
limited.
going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
James, where do you place Chris in terms of the career challenges you've faced?
Oh, well done. Like, he's not. Come on, I've boxed the best in the world. The very, very best in the world. From Andre Durrell when I won my world title, Lucien Boutet out in Canada, Badou Jack at War in New York. I've mixed with the highest of the high, you know what I'm saying? And as I say, Chris is a good fighter. He's a tough fighter. He does bring it. He's got a lot of heart. He's got a big set of balls, but that's not going to be enough to beat me on the 23rd of February. And I think you know that deep down. I think, as I say, he expects to be down after 6 rounds, and I think he's hoping that I'm not fit, and he puts on the pressure, and he can take me out. But
I'm hoping you
as I said,
bring the best you can bring on the night. I'm not
Yes,
hoping you're
Chris.
not fit at all.
Yes.
I hope we can give the fans
Yeah.
the most exciting, explosive fight that we possibly can.
Yes.
I just don't believe that you have what it
No.
takes to
Chris, you're
stay
going-
with me.
You're going to go back to school for this fight on the 23rd.
Okay.
You're going to school. You've been to school before.
I like how you copy my words as well. It's funny how.
Copy words.
Yeah, well, you know, I've been saying I'm going to school you, and now you're going to take me back to school. Come on, find some of your own material.
Come
out here,
on,
man.
bro.
Come on.
You're going back to school, bro.
Chris, it's a fair point, isn't it? Though I mean, you know, you didn't manage to step up against George Groves. And, aren't those who say that you're going to have to step up now that of a valid opinion? Now you're going to have to step up again. Well, how big is the step up compared to the George Groves fight?
Listen, this is a huge fight. It's just as big as the George Groves fight.
But in terms of the challenge that James offers,
yeah, he's a world level proven fighter. Of course, I'm not taking this fight lightly. You know, I've got a new team around me, and we've been working on a lot of new things. So you guys are going to see a new and improved Chris Eubank Jr.
what has changed, Chris? Because that obviously was one of the things that came out of the Groves fight. That a lot of people felt out there that you needed to transform your backroom staff if you were to continue in this game to world level.
Well, yeah, I haven't really had an official trainer. Ronnie Davis here has been with me by my side my entire career, but he hasn't trained me per se. It's more he's more of an overseer. He guides me. I haven't really had an actual official trainer. I've kind of just done my own thing. I've trained myself pretty much. For this fight, that will be different. I've been working with a man named Nate Vasquez from Las Vegas. He's been living with me. He had to travel back home for Christmas, but he's back. Actually, flew in today. So you know, it's good to have a solid guy there that's with me 24/7, working with me on specific things that I need to do, instead of me just going through the motions and getting fit and trying to beat guys, you know, using heart and determination. Now we have strategy involved, and this is going to be. I think this is going to take me to the next level.
Jim? James, what do you make of that? Different approach, a tactically changed fighter.
Chris is too arrogant to listen to another coach and to learn different things. He can bring on who he wants. It won't change Chris. As I say, this would be as easy as I make it.
Yeah,
Simple.
I think we're all creatures of habit. What you've been doing a lifetime, you can't change in 6 to 8 weeks. We're all creatures of habit. You brought up on what you brought up on. You can't go in the gym with anything that can be detrimental rather than advantageous. You're better off sticking with what you know. Trying to change it now is it's a bit crazy.
Well, Ronnie, you, I imagine, have seen this new trainer at work. What's the difference? What's happening in there?
Well, he was always told from day one to listen to no one, only himself, by his father. So I stepped back. I can't do the pad work. I haven't done pad work for 15 years because my hands are wrecked. I've just had a knee replacement and back's half gone, but apart from that, I look quite good, don't I? But yes, it works all right. He's looking good. He's looking fit. We'll see on the night.
James, it was interesting listening to the opinions of Shane McGuigan when asked about this fight. He said that Chris Eubank Jr. might just have a little bit more in the tank.
Yeah. Well, yeah, a lot. Obviously, going by my last couple of performances, a lot of people think I'm on a decline. A lot of people think I'm shot. But I'm not going to go over it again because I've said it in loads of interviews about my injuries and so on. So I'm just going to leave it to the night. But I've had injury problems. I've been fighting injured for a long time. But I don't want to make excuses. A lot of people think I'm on a decline, but they're going to get a big shock on the night, on fight night. As I say, we've only got 7 weeks to wait. It's not long.
And Chris, this is a last chance, isn't it? James suggested it. Is this a last chance, a fight you have to win?
We have to win. As fighters, we have to win every fight.
Call this the retirement fight. Call this the retirement fight. Because whoever loses, knock it on the head.
You as well, yeah? This is it for you, James.
Speak for yourself, James.
Call this the retirement fight, rude boy. Call this the retirement fight. Because when you lose, go and finish.
Well, a final word on that, Richard Poxon, for whoever wins.
There's not much to add to that, I don't think.
What next for whoever wins? What opportunities are out there?
Well, the division's really exciting at the moment. We've got James's old title being boxed for in a couple of weeks. Uskategui against Plant, really, really good fight. You know, George Groves, I'm sure, is going to come back at some stage shortly. There's Callum Smith also, who's just beat George Groves. So it's a division that's really, really full of talent at the moment, below it and the weight above it. So, you know, whoever wins this fight will go on to bigger and bigger fights. And in a way, James is right. Whoever loses this fight is probably going to have a look at plotting a way back at maybe a weight above or where they go. I don't know, because it's the pride. I think the pride between both of them, you can tell, is that neither one of them is going to give an inch, and I don't expect them to. You know, you've got to say that the ability, the pure boxing ability, is obviously with James, like I say, Olympic champion, 2-time world champion. But you won't see many people, I don't think, with Chris's conditioning over 12 rounds. So, you know, as a general boxing fan, not just for us who work in the sport and live in the sport, for a general boxing fan, it's a really, really intriguing fight and one we look forward to. James is struggling with a bit of self-confidence, I think, at the moment, which is coming through. We'll look forward to the night.
A last word, James?
No, yeah, tune in. As I said, man, the retirement fight. Whoever loses, it's game over. But now tune in, 02, 23rd of Feb. It's going to be a cracker.
And Chris?
I'm bringing the heat, as I always do. And James is talking about retirement. This is something that...
For you, bro.
It's never even come into my mind. So
I'm talking, this is the retirement. Because when you lose, what are you going to do, Chris?
Well, you know, obviously I don't have it in my mind to lose. I haven't even thought about that path. Obviously you have.
No, I'm thinking about you, bro.
No, think about yourself, man. This is a dangerous sport. There's no
I
need to be thinking about
fully focused on the 23rd, bro.
Okay, well, we'll see. We'll find
Okay,
out.
sir.
Guys, thank you very much. Okay, it's on then. James DeGale, Chris Eubank Jr., February the 23rd at London's O2 Arena. Before that, ITV begins the boxing year with 2 world title fights on ITV4, including, as Richard mentioned, Manny Pacquiao against Adrian Broner for the WBA welterweight world title. That's on January the 19th. For more details on that, go to itvboxoffice.com. Coming up, we'll speak to both men on ITV Box Office, Facebook and YouTube channels, and then both fighters, of course, available to you for further chats. Thank you very much indeed.
Just lean in.
Well, it's a pleasure to be at the Café Royal today and to have with me James DeGale, the former IBF two-time world champion. But here we are. It's on, isn't it? A lot of talk for a long, long time about this fight against Chris Eubank Jr. You've taken it. Why?
Yeah, because everyone's calling for it. The past couple of years, everyone's wanted to see me against Eubank, and finally it's the right time for the fight to be made. I'm just looking forward to it. He's called my name for a long time. He's talked for a long time, him and his father. So now I've got my chance to deal with him good and proper and get a fantastic win to put me back up there on people's lips. So
you vacated your world title, having won it back, which I think surprised a few. But the reason was because essentially you wanted to control your career and have fights like this to finish with, correct?
I call these legacy fights because these are the fights that people remember you for. Me against Eubank, me against Groves, me against Smith. These domestic tear-ups you can't beat. So, as I say, I'm getting towards the end. I've got a couple more years in the game. I want to get them big fights in.
He doesn't bring a world title in terms of what you might call one of the major world titles in his locker. What does he bring, though? Because there, let's face it, there is something that the public latch on to.
He brings the surname now. On a serious note, he brings the name, but he's a good fighter. He's a good fighter. He's a tough fighter. He's game. I say he's got big balls. He's got a lot of heart. He don't mind if it gets hard. So that's why he is dangerous. But technically, he's not as good as me at all. I come from good pedigree, and on fight night, it's going to be a good tear up. But I can make this easy, and that's why I've got to stay cool and calm and deal with this guy how he should be dealt with.
We often talk about the press conference being, the first press conference being maybe a little window into both fighters' thinking. What did you make of Chris and his performance here at the press conference today?
I was actually surprised. I thought he'd be a bit more vocal, but he was
a bit more shy than normal?
A bit more shy. He held back. He didn't say too much. He was a bit respectful, if anything. I was a bit shocked. But listen, he's obviously got a little bit of respect for me. He respects what I've done. But as I say, man, this is a dangerous fight because this is his chance. He beats me. He's put his name back up there.
But you said it is a retirement fight. Ominous words for both men.
Gabriel, that's what I'd say, because really, like, I think he would say that because he's coming off that loss against Groves. My last couple fights, I ain't looked the best. I ain't looked vintage James DeGale. So I would say, whoever, like the loser of this, you maybe have to knock it on the head. It just depends how the fight goes. But listen, that hasn't come into my head. I know for a fact what I'm going to do on the 23rd of February. I'm going to get a good win, and I'm going to show him levels. I want to take him to school. And
for the British public now who know this fight is on, who've been waiting for it, what's your message?
Well, you guys, man, you lot are massive boxing fans. Like, tune in. 23rd of February to 02. This is going to be a cracker, I promise you. It's a real good fight.
James, thank you very much. We look forward to it, and we'll see you in the build-up, of course. If we can bring in his opponent, Chris Eubank Jr., who's been waiting patiently. We appreciate that, Chris. Thanks for waiting. So, yeah, listen, James has said it there. You've been calling for this fight for some time. It's on. Now that it is a reality, what's your thinking?
I'm happy. I'm happy that we get to give the fans what they've been demanding for so many years. Obviously, it's common knowledge that me and James don't get along. We've had our back and forths over the years, and now we get to settle our differences once and for all.
What did you make of James at the press conference? I wouldn't say you were lost for words, but he was keen, I think, to be the alpha male.
He likes to put on a front. He likes to laugh and joke about. I'm very serious about this fight. This is I'm not here to mess around now. This is my opportunity to put myself back on top. And I hear him talk about retirement and whoever loses is game over. That hasn't even come into my mind. I haven't even thought. I can't even put that into my mind about what would happen if I lose. I'm going in there to dominate.
How does he compare, do you think, to George Groves? Your fight last year, obviously, against George didn't go your way. George, of course, beat James much earlier in his career. Is this a tougher challenge for you than George?
I put them on the same type of level. We're all at world level. And once you get to a certain level, it's kind of, it's so close. There's nothing in it really. It's just who prepares harder, who focuses more on the fight, who focuses more on the preparation, and who has the better game plan. At the end of the day, he did fight George. I actually had him up on that fight. So there's nothing in it. It's really just it comes down to who wants it more on the night.
He's talked about his greater pedigree, the class of fighter that he's been in more consistently maybe. So what closes the gap for you on February the 23rd? What makes the difference for you? What finally takes you to that world level you're talking about?
Grit, determination, sacrifice.
But a new approach as well, you'd mentioned, in training terms?
All of, everything combined with the fact that I have a new mentality on my preparation in terms of, studying a fighter, getting the right sparring, practicing the right techniques, having an actual game plan. All of that is going to combine to make me a much more effective fighter on the night.
How much better in percentage terms do you think you will be with that new approach tactically and in terms of the team behind you?
I think I'll be on an entirely new level. Like I said before, I've never actually had an official trainer. I've never had someone kind of focusing me and working with me on specific things for specific fighters. In this camp I have that, and I cannot wait to display the fruits of my labor.
Well, we asked Sir James to say it, so a word to the British fans. He'll be now thinking about watching this fight, coming to the O2, signing up to watch it. What do you say to them?
This is going to be fight of the year. This is a true grudge match between two elite level fighters, and he's in for a world of pain, man, so join in.
It is on. Chris, thank you very much indeed. It is on. We'll see you throughout the next few weeks as we continue our build-up. DeGale versus Eubank Jr. It is on February the 23rd at the O2, and it's live on ITV Box Office.